Well, good evening to all of you. My name is Jamel Tony.
Hey everyone, I'm Lakeisha and welcome to Progressively Becoming. Thank you guys for joining us for another conversation. As always, as you're getting on, make sure you like, comment, and share. And let somebody know PB is on now. We are in the building, and every Tuesday right here, 7 p.m. sharp.
Good evening to all of you that's watching us on Facebook, all of you that's on YouTube. I got shouted out last week because we didn't acknowledge those that watch us on our website. So hello to all of those watching us on our website. If you know somebody that does not have Facebook and or YouTube, they can go ahead and they can go to our website. That's www.progressivelybecoming.com. Go ahead and click on live stream and you can view us there as well. Welcome to all of our podcast listeners, Apple, Google, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. If you haven't already subscribed, you can go ahead and do that tonight to stay current on everything PB and TPOE related. What is happening?
It was a little chilly in here, y'all. My feet is like ice, but that's because somebody likes the temperature a little cool in the house. But no shade. It's winter, but
put on socks.
Our heat is at the same temperature as the temperature outside. So how is that going to make me warm?
Put on socks.
But anyway, I do have on socks and my feet are still cold. But anyway, let's not forget Thursday morning devotions. Make sure that you are there with us this Thursday. 6 a.m. It's Thanksgiving. We will be on praying 6 a.m. So make sure you tell someone, invite someone, tag someone. We will be on praying with you and praying for you.
Thanksgiving Day edition. You do not want to miss this. While you put your turkeys in the oven, pray with us. We want to give thanks to God for everything he's done for us.
Absolutely. And as we've been mentioning over the last couple of months, we are still taking coats and gently used clothes for our coat giveaway that we are having on December 17th. You can still give. We will be collecting up until December 1st. So the time is approaching. If you have any coats, clothes, hats, gloves, scarves, whatever you have, we are willing to take. You just text the number 855-997-3031 if you would like to participate with giving and volunteering. I just want to thank you guys that already volunteered to be there with us on the 17th. So we know we're going to have a great time in the community. Sunday Exchange, 9 o'clock, the Place of Exchange Worship Center. It has been happening for 2 months now. So we are grateful for that. So make sure that you're there with us this coming Sunday, 9 a.m. Invite someone, tell someone that don't know Jesus. They can come on and experience the Sunday Exchange on Sunday, 9 o'clock.
You have on makeup.
I always have on makeup.
No, you don't.
When we come
we have guests today, and she decided she wants to put on makeup.
I wear makeup every Tuesday and Sunday.
So for me and for all of you that are consistent, progressively becomers, you don't wear makeup for us. But when
I
guest is
do.
on, she puts on makeup.
Now y'all know in the audience, y'all know I wear makeup on Tuesdays and on Sundays. Other than that, no, I'll just throw
Because she
on.
doesn't care about us. She cares about our guests more than she does about us. She is not progressively
Whatever.
becoming, and we have to do better.
Y'all know that is not true.
We are extreme.
Remember, you talked about my gold dust lipstick the other week. I had on makeup then. Anyway, last week we were talking about relationship boundaries. We did have Ty and Cassie Butler on with us. It was a great conversation. It was a good time talking with them and having them on as our first guest.
Yes.
So if you missed it, if you didn't hear it, see it, watch it, go and take a listen or watch it however you prefer. It was a great time.
Yeah.
So
he was dropping wisdom. Yeah,
absolutely. Them butlers
Butlers was dropping wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Proud of them. Proud of them. For real. And our guests tonight, even though they may have the same last name, it's no relation. It's just a coincidence. But they are our brother and sister nonetheless.
Absolutely. Tonight's conversation is going to be absolutely amazing. I want you right now. I want you to like. I want you to share. Tag somebody. I don't know where this conversation is going to go. These two individuals mean the absolute world to us. They are not only friends, and when I say friends, I mean that in every sense of the word. They are not associates. They are true friends, brothers and sisters.
Right.
And we love them and their family dearly. Some of you said we look flipped around. It's weird. They say we are opposite sides of each other. But listen, I want you to ready yourselves, put your seatbelts on, because again, I don't know where this conversation is going to take place. I want you all to get excited. I want you to throw the hearts, throw the likes, because we have with us two individuals. Their last name is Butlers. So it is without further ado, let's get them set up. I want to make a grand entrance with them because they are absolutely amazing. It is without further ado, we introduce to you Christ and Aubrey Butler. Make some noise.
Hi.
We in here.
Hey, thank y'all so much for joining us today. We appreciate you guys saying yes.
They look good, don't they?
Y'all cute now. Y'all cute. That's my sis right there.
Thank you.
That's my sis. That's one of the ones I talk about. That's my friend, and we don't live in the same state, but she my friend nonetheless. Yeah. And we haven't even known each other a long time, but I feel like I've known her for years, and that is definitely my sister, y'all. You my brother too, Christ, but that's my sister though. That's my sister.
As long as Jamel good with me, I don't really care what you think about.
Listen, have them introduce themselves, give them a little background about them, but they are the senior pastors of Antioch Lighthouse Church. The song just came in my mind, right? Of Antioch Lighthouse in South Bend, Indiana. Christ and Aubrey Butler. Go ahead, take it away. Tell us who you are, little background about yourselves, and let's get this conversation started.
All right.
Well, I'm Aubrey Butler, his wife.
I'm Christ Butler, Pastor Butler, and been running for Jesus. But we just excited to be here. I always tell my wife I feel like when it comes to outlook on relationship, and so I'm excited to do this with you guys. Just show you her wisdom, because a lot of it goes from her to me, and then I look like the.
But we've been together. We met. I was 14. He was 16. And my teacher and Christ used to come up to the church and play the keyboard for our concerts and stuff. That's how we met, and on and off, and then we got married.
Yep.
Wow, so y'all been together since you was 14 and he was 16 years old.
Kind of liking each other, but I mean, not official. I was in college and he was a little bit older.
Yeah, are we breaking up?
Yeah.
Are we good?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
A little bit. I don't know if it's the reception. Let me know. We can try to adjust something. Let me know. But yeah, a long time we've been.
It's that Indiana Wi-Fi.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I keep telling y'all to move more east. But yeah, we're getting comments that it is breaking up. So go ahead and see if you can adjust that. And then I'll put you in the waiting room, and then we'll come back. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready. All right, fam. So we're going to go ahead and let them go ahead and adjust their internet connection. They are in South Bend, Indiana. Again, I don't think they get 4G connection out there. They probably get 3G connection. But we're going to go ahead and let them get themselves together. Tonight's conversation is centered around balance. And I think we have said this in our previous discussions, the importance of having a balanced life. If your life is not balanced, it would be the evidence of your life not being balanced would be confirmed by your erratic behavior and your erratic decisions. And like in every facet of your life, there has to be a balance when it comes to not only priorities, but also when it comes to relationships. Every relationship in your life has to be a balance. And I can just remember a time for me, and I think I spoke about this a while ago, that like I wasn't balanced. Right. And it was, what's that toy that the kids used to play on? That like one go up and one comes down.
Ain't that the seesaw?
Seesaw, yeah. Your life would literally be like a seesaw, and you'll feel the effects of one side going up and the other side going down. So there must be a balance and a structure to your life. So tonight's conversation would be really centered around how do we maintain a balance with everything that's happening in our lives? How do we maintain a balance between relationships, between family, between children, between ministry, between our vocations? I mean, even what I think, Sharon, you mentioned last when we was talking about, I think you mentioned something about financial balance, right? And that's something that we're going to have to touch on also, because again, it will impact every single area of our lives,
right? And also, like, you have to remember, when you don't have balance, what can be a result of not having balance in your life is burnout. So, you know, you got to keep that in mind, because if you don't have a balance, you can literally get burned out. Correct. When it's just like you just moving, and you on 10 with everything, and you're not like prioritizing things, and you're trying to do everything and anything all at the same time. Eventually, you're gonna get burned out. And when that happens, sometimes you lose drive and you lose passion for the things that you may have once liked and enjoyed, because you're burned out, and now it's becoming no longer fun for you, no longer, you're no longer wanting to do it, because you're just so beat down and you're just so tired. So you have to make sure you have that balance in your life, so that you don't exhibit those burnout qualities, because it's easy to get there. I mean, I've been there, where it's just so much, you're doing so much, you're involved in so much is going on, and you literally just get drained and you're burned out, and you just like, I can't do it anymore. So, just keep that in mind when we're talking about balance. It's very important in our lives.
Got it. All right, so we have them back. So sorry for the technical difficulties. We're going to go ahead and bring them back on.
They have changed their scenery.
Yes. This is what happens when you live in South Bend. You have to drive around a neighborhood to get good reception.
Now they're muted.
We can't.
Now we can't hear y'all.
Change your mic, sir.
There
we
you
go.
go. You got me? I'm clear now, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. This is what happens when you have 5 kids and you are always on the run.
So let's just talk about that. What is your definition of balance?
All right. You want to start, man?
To me, trying to do everything well, major in your life, trying to do those things well. Maybe that's not answering it right, but
my definition of balance is given the appropriate time to kind of like if you had a flower, like 6 flowers, all of them may not need the same. Put effort toward what's needed when it's needed. That's how I look at balance.
Gotcha. So one of the balances that we're gonna do is let you focus on the road.
Oh, I'm good. I'm about to pull over in a second. So
we're gonna let you focus on the road. I think when it comes to relationships, in particular, and this conversation is going to be geared around relationships, not just intimate relationships, but speaking from an intimate relationship standpoint and other relationships. There's a scripture that we often use, and the phrase that we are all familiar with. It is an issue of being unequally yoked. Yeah. I want you to define that, not only from a spiritual sense, but from an emotional sense as well. From your perspective, what is being unequally yoked?
Wow. So that's a great question, because normally when we hear that ways, oh, she married a man that wasn't saved, or he got with somebody that we hear from that. But I think you can have 2 saved people being paid. Perhaps one wants to do ministry and the other is a hindrance to that ministry. Understand what ministry is. So I think anytime there is not, that's what I would consider unequally yoked, and that can be husband, wife, even in leadership. You understand what I'm saying? You can be, and that's why I think some people to leave ministry when their time is up, because if you don't, then you'll end up suffering. You didn't leave at the right time, and it's not beneficial to you at that moment. You know.
Gotcha. What's the emotional answer to that? Because oftentimes when I think of that particular scripture and other scriptures in general, we look at the scripture, but we also look at the principle behind it that can just apply in life, right? And I think for me, being unequally yoked from an emotional perspective, and I think all of us, right, have been with people, and this is not just intimacy. This is co-workers, this is managers, this is friends, that there's this emotional unbalance between one person and another person. It's like you always gotta encourage them. You always gotta, like help them out. And it's like there's no reciprocation in that. So emotionally being unequally yoked, how does that play out?
You want to say that because many people, I think, I'm gonna talk from being a kid. I believe that I saw my parents give people more, and as a result of that, some of my fears of pastoring came from what I saw. Because when you will, I still remember giving my bike away to a family bike, right? And then they left the church. I'm like, why I get on my bike and they left the church? I didn't forgave them so I can go to heaven. But my point is that it really didn't make sense to me. I'm like, how is this making sense that you give so much and people aren't willing to give this? But even as in a relationship, husband and wife, I think it's important that you are mindful what your spouse needs, right? Because at some point change, as you grow, as you get older, as you change as a person, those things change. So at one, your spouse may not need you to compliment them as much. Maybe in this season, there's more of that. And so you have to just be able to give them that part of it, because willing to give, and then they're giving certain points, it's going to come off like, I'm doing more work than what you're doing in this.
Yeah.
That's
I hear
good.
that. Absolutely.
So as you
Yeah.
guys are driving now, like
We
going to your kids' events, like how is that? Like, how do you balance that? So how do you balance like your children? How do you give each child like what they need and not neglect the others?
And you guys have 5 children.
Yes.
4 boys,
Yeah.
one girl. Yes.
Yeah. Five children that you know about. Butler,
What?
he may got like 8 more somewhere, but so you have 5 that you know about, right?
I've been saving.
Oh my God.
What's that balance like with children? How do you give them what they need separately?
I think for me is trying personalities and trying to figure out what each kid likes. I think I feeling like, okay, I can't spend a lot of time with each one, but I do try to, so let's go out to eat, or this one, let's go out to eat, let's watch a show, or let me sit and that I have to be anyway, just so I can kind of connect with you. And sometimes it is hard. There's always a lot going on. So one kid may say something and I don't think so later. And I say, wait, they said this to me, but I was busy. I was cooking. I was talking to another child at the same. Okay, so you said this the other day. What did you mean by that? Do you need to talk to me more about that? Taking that time to put yourself out there and just being aware of who he a whole lot of time, but just making sure the time that you do have with them is. What you think?
And my answer to it is really, she really does that. Because, and I'm being for real. I'm not saying that like doing that little sort of people. I'm really being serious. She has always done a great job of giving things that I miss. So she may see something that me and one of the boys have in common, and she'll say them because they like it or something. And so that's been my balance in having one daughter. Like I said, I always say that the Lord knew I only had enough love for one girl. One daughter is a little simpler for me to try to put the effort toward that. But so far as just 5 children, you stretch. It takes a little stretching and figuring out things. And so she really helps me with that.
Got it. All right, so we're still getting some audio issues, and the
Away from the
crew
school.
can't hear you. So we're gonna put you back in the waiting room and be safe. We don't
Let me move one more time. We're gonna move one more time.
All right, no problem. Let us know when you're ready. Listen, fam, again, we sincerely apologize for the audio issues. I thought we had everything worked out. So we're going to flow until they get together. You talked about children.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult because I think there has to be a balance also when it comes to our children as well, and being able to give each child what they want as well. When the first word that all of you probably thought of when we think relationships is husband and wife. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a parent and child relationship as well. And honestly, I think that there's not enough discussion related to how children and parents ought to relate to each other. Right. So often there's dictatorship from parents. And oftentimes I think we can misunderstand what a child needs. And I think it has a lot to do with experience. We raise our children based on what we experienced when we was raised as well. And sometimes that's a good thing, and other times it may be a conflict when it comes to this new generation of children that we're raising?
Well, Sharon mentioned it's often said that when you have multiple children, like you can't love them the same.
Yeah.
So do we agree with that or not?
Yeah.
So I have two living children. Mm-hmm. So for me personally, I can only speak for me personally. Like I love my sons equally. I love them equally. Absolutely. But I would say that the relationships are different. Mm-hmm. My relationship with Ty is different than my relationship with Tyler. Mm-hmm. But I love them like with every ounce of my being. My love from them is not different. It's just the way that I have to handle them is different, or the way that I have to interact with them is different, or the relationship that I have with each one is different. And it could be because, you know, Tyreek is grown and, you know, Tyler is still a kid. Absolutely. So that relationship is going to be different in the way that I handle them and the way that I am with them. So, and even when they were younger, you know, there's a age difference between them. They're like 11 years apart. So, you know, the relationship when Tyler came, Tyreek was 11 at the time. So of course, you know, our relationship is going to be different in the way I treat the baby. So I think that's what it is. I think for me, it's like, I love you the same, but the way our relationships are different.
Yeah. And you made a good point that it really just depends on, a lot of it has to depend on the culture and the times that we live in. You know, my mom, she raised 4 children, and each of us, for those of you that know us, are uniquely different. And I think for parents, we have to, and here's what I want all of you to throw in the chat. For parents, we have to make sure that we have the capacity, right? Somebody say that, the capacity to be able to handle the varied emotional responses that each of our child would have, and give them what they need independently of each other. And the wisdom is, how can we give what each child needs independent of each other and not have the other children feel as if they are neglected?
Right. And we're going to actually get into one of these. This is going to be a conversation that we're going to have, you know, a little bit down the line, because, you know, our relationship series is going to take us to different avenues in different ways. So we are going to address the parent and the child relationship in the upcoming conversation. So I think the Butlers, we're going to try this again. I believe the third time is a charm. What y'all think?
I hope so.
What's going on, guys?
All right. How we sounding now?
Well, let's keep talking.
Let's keep talking, and then, I mean, you sound great to us, so let's just see what the folks say.
All right.
Yeah. I want to shift the conversation to the relationship hierarchy. We have often said that in relationships, it is God first. And for those of you that are in church, we have said it's God first, spouse, children, church, and down the line. For some of you that are not, you know, in the Christian persuasion, it may be, you know, God, you know, spouse, you know, children, your job per se. Should the relationship hierarchy, should it exist? Does it exist? If so, what should it be? What should the relationship hierarchy look like?
I agree with that. It should be God first, your spouse, and then your kids. And I think a lot of people are kids, and that you know, rubs people the wrong way. But before the kids got in, when the kids are all grown, it's just gonna be us. So I think that we have to be, and of course God has to be above us. But I just always think that's important for us to show. You know, we love you guys. We love you guys, but what we have is, the one thing I always say is, I love that they see us go out on dates, and they see us do have a my daughter was telling me how her friends, you know, they're always talking about how, you know, they always hear about us going on dates. It's important to see that we're still young, we still care about each other. And I think I'm where, you know, a married couple was just like this, do anything fun. It didn't seem like a relationship still. It just seemed like the parents of the house. I'm really excited about showing our kids that we have a relationship, that we enjoy being around each other, and hear us laugh and just have fun are things that some people might take for, I don't know. That's not something that I necessarily saw up just hearing fun from parents and adults. So
Fun.
I think that we're above them.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that word, fun.
Yeah. Sure. My answer would be in aspects of life. So I believe that God is first, because that is life. According to Scripture, we see Him say, "Your sister, brother, and even your own life, you can't follow me." They are not even important to God's decisions for our life, as it relates to that and putting Him first. So far as relationships, I think it's very clear in Genesis to me that the Bible echoes this thing of, if with a woman he is to leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife. And because of this, I think it shows us that the importance putting things in the right perspective as it relates to who's important, because there are many people who have signed divorce papers not because they couldn't have worked it in the business for them to work it out, and so because of that, they couldn't through that transition of making it through whatever situation or circumstance they were having, who weren't important in that process, play a part in there. So yes, I think first is important, and then I would say your spouse, your children, like you things too. There are some things I wouldn't put before, and don't make them not be important, but I wouldn't put them in front of my children, depending on what it is. It's about balance, like you say.
One of the because we push the envelope here, right? So we I have a problem with certain parts of that relationship hierarchy. And the question I want to pose to you is that relationship hierarchy set in stone? Like, is it without doubt 1, 2, 3, 4? And again, everyone's relationship hierarchy may differ, right? Based on where you are in life, your religion, some people don't have children, right? So children is not going to be in their relationship hierarchy. But whatever a person's relationship hierarchy is it set in stone?
So since we push an envelope, I really don't think we should involve God in that. In Christian faith, I'll say this: I don't think we ought to label where God's in everything. He should be a part of that decision anyway, for the most part. So talking about it, I think it's not set in stone at all, because there are some times where when we think about God, we think, okay, we got a church service tonight, but it's my wife, go out to eat. Babe, we can miss church. You gotta get what I'm saying? Like, and at that point, that's what I'm going to. If I'm not saved for that reason, then it's just, I'll have to repent and get. I think that there is no set in stone way of how do you do what I think it's about, which is balance and making sure you're not moving so far away from God being that He no longer plays a part in it.
That's good. Yeah, I absolutely love that. And I want to, here's what we're going to do, is because I want to respect you guys and the input that you guys are offering. Mm-hmm. So we're going to reschedule this because I really want you guys, I want everyone to hear what you're saying.
Right.
And we're getting text that like the audio is going in and out. So we're gonna reschedule this PB for a later date because these two have great value on the word balance.
Right.
And I want us to respect their words because I think we know that they are just that awesome. So we're going to reschedule with you guys and get out of South Bend, and I need y'all to go to Chicago. I think Chicago has better service. Okay, and we are going to put y'all in the waiting room while y'all travel to Chicago, and we'll hit you guys up later. We love you guys.
Yes, we love you.
Listen, we are so sorry for that. We're going to get them on because I
Yes.
want us to really hear what they have to say,
Right.
because they really have impact. We got about 15 minutes left. I want to discuss that relationship hierarchy because I sense that we have to go there.
Okay.
Is
let's
that
go.
relationship hierarchy set in stone? I agree with Pastor Butler. Absolutely not. I think at some point you have to ask the question in your life, what is at most importance to me?
Mhm.
And often times we have put our children perhaps in front of our spouses, and we put our spouses in front of our children where at certain moments the spouse may need more attention. And then I've heard it said, especially when it comes to domestic violence situations, that they put the spouse first and totally neglect the child. So I think there has to be some reasoning when it comes to that relationship hierarchy.
Right.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, because we definitely believe that, you know, God is head, God is first.
Yeah.
So that's no question.
Yeah.
But I think the question always goes to who's like the spouse and the children. And you hear most people, oh, my kids is first.
Yeah.
My kids is my,
Yeah.
and it's just, I mean, it's true, but it depends. I think it's the situation. I just always hated the ranking kind of thing, you know, like ranking people.
Because if we're not careful, that hierarchy would suggest importance and value over.
Exactly.
Right, that we value our spouses over our children, that we, you know, value, you know, it becomes a value system, and it should not be. And then I have a question with this: you know what's missing in the relationship hierarchy? We have God, we have our spouse, we have our children, we have our church. For those of you that are in that state, do you know what's missing in the relationship hierarchy? You are missing.
Right.
In the relationship hierarchy. At what point are you put? At what point are you put first before your spouse and your children? And that may be a tough situation, but at what point does your career, does your desire for advancement say, hey, you know something? I've got to put myself first in this particular season.
I mean, Sister Nancy is saying, you know, God first, then spouse, then children. I mean, yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
But what happens when, like you said, the child may need more attention or may need you more at this point than your spouse.
Or the spouse is not fulfilling his or her duties.
Right.
And this may go into a whole nother conversation because I totally understand the need to love our spouses unconditionally, and you have to love your spouse unconditionally. I love her unconditionally. You have to love your spouse unconditionally. At the same time, wisdom says, if my children needs are not being validated, empowered, supported, and understood, then at this particular season of my life, I'm gonna have to flip this thing around, and I'm gonna have to put my children first, and then pray for my spouse. And if we don't do this, if we don't use wisdom when it comes to seasons of our lives, then you will find yourself in difficult situations and in difficult predicaments because We're so stuck on, well, this is first, and then numb, and then numb, and then numb. Well, it has nothing to do with value and or importance.
Right. And that's the way
yeah,
it's
go ahead.
that's the way it's made to seem, though, when you do that ranking. It's like, because I mean, God is first. He is most important.
Yeah.
He is above everything.
Absolutely.
And then so we continue in that with everyone else.
Yeah.
My husband or my wife is more important than my children.
Mhm.
My children is more important than my
Mhm.
spouse. My you know, my children and my spouse is more important than my church. And it's just like we ranking it that way.
Yeah.
Who's most important in our lives? And I think that's where we like teeter-totter in the wrong vein when it comes to that.
And because God is put first, like again, progressively becoming, we talk to all religions, all cultures. Y'all know what we're about, right? We put God first. If you put God first, here it is. If you put God first, then what you're saying is that I put you first in my life. In other words, you alone are able to lead and guide me. And there will be moments in your life that God will lead us and guide us in different avenues where our attentions and our priorities would differ from season to season. And you got to be willing to adjust that and be okay with saying, hey, something, again, at this point in my life, I have to come first.
I also think it's how we like portray that type of dynamic.
Yeah.
So I can love you unconditionally. I love my kids unconditionally. But if I'm showing more love and affection and things of that nature towards you, and I'm neglecting that towards my kids, I think that's when it becomes a problem. I think if you have a good dynamic all around, then we wouldn't need to have to say, okay, you come first, you come second, you come third, you come fourth, you come fifth. I think that's what it is. It'll never have to be verbalized in a way where I have to say it so that you can know and feel what order you come in. That's what I think.
Because that segregates, and we got to go. That segregates people. It does. I'm gonna say this. Chat me later. It's okay.
Chat you later.
Yeah. Hit me up later. I'll say this. Unfortunately, I'm gonna get in trouble.
Say it.
Unfortunately,
that's what
I
doing,
think
say it.
From our experience, that Christians in the church can be some of the most prejudiced places and people. Especially when we use this hierarchy to govern our lives, and it excludes everyone else.
Explain that.
If you put the needs of one above the needs of others that legitimately and desperately need it, that I believe we have failed and is not displaying the intention of God. Here it is, because he leaves the 99 to go after the one. And some would suggest the 99 is more important because it's more numbers. There's more strength there. But what about the one?
Right.
So I think we have to be careful that we don't exist in a place of prejudice and segregation when it comes to relationships in our lives. Because I'm gonna say this, and this is something that I've learned, is that our children can teach us things about ourselves that our spouses can't. And if you don't lend your ear to perhaps the potential that not only can my spouse teach me, children can teach me as well. then I think we segregate them and we leave them feeling as if they don't have any value in relationships. And unfortunately, that has happened, particularly in our African-American community. You'll hear people say all the time, oh, stay out of grown folk business. You don't have a place here. Speak when spoken to. And I believe in order. I believe in respect. Yet at the same time, I truly believe that sometimes wisdom can come from the least of them. And if we're not submitted enough and humble enough to accept the possibility that perhaps those that we put lower in our hierarchy can help us, then I think we are missing the point of being God-led and being Christ-filled.
That's good.
And I'll say that.
That's good.
Yeah.
I agree
Yeah.
with that.
Stop being prejudiced. Stop being prejudiced and stop segregating people. Stop being prejudiced in our relationships where we only got to cater to one ethnic group and we leave the other ethnic groups out, out of the possibility of teaching us something. Stop being prejudiced in our politics. Quit it. Open yourself up to the possibility that if God created the world and everything in it, then everything in this world has the potential to teach me something about myself and teach me something about my God.
Lydia,
That's
you
it.
said they don't hear you. Who don't hear you? The parents don't hear you?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if that's what you mean, I mean, you have some parents that's just, stuck in how they do things. But for me, it's like as a parent, I'm open because like the way of the world now, like the young people, like they on top of what's going on. So I don't know if it's just me. I'm just trying to stay in the know. I'm just trying to stay, young and fresh. But it's a lot of times I go to like my sons or I'll go to my brother, Maurice, and ask him, well, what does this mean? And what does that mean? And when they say this, what's that? Because it's like, I want to know, and it's like sometimes they educate me on things. And it's not me feeling no kind of way that, oh, I'm not smart or, I'm dumb. But no, they're in the world young and they're fresh and their eyes are different. Their minds are different. And it's like, I want to know from you. I want to learn from you. And there's no shame in that. It's no, just as, my mom or my father, at the time may have come to me with things that they may not have known that now I can share and give wisdom on. And it's just, we have to be open to that when it comes to our children.
And what it does, it validates them. It validates your child when you can go to them and be like, hey, what do you think about this? When was the last time you went to your child and asked, hey, well, what do you think about this? It validates them. It gives them a sense of importance, and it gives them a sense of relationship. Relationship is not one-sided. It's two ways. It validates them. Are we validating our children? Are we validating them? Or are we telling them stay in your place, and then when you grow up, you'll be like, me or something like that? No, we have to validate our children.
Like
validate our children.
That conversation with Ty and Cassie, it's like was enlightening for us. They said a lot of good things and good nuggets that we took out. And we're gonna apply. And it's sometimes that we reach out to them now. Hey, what you think about this? What you think about that? Absolutely. And it's like we have that relationship with them where they know that they can tell us something, that they may can critique something, and we take it and because we value their opinions, we value what they think, we value the importance of them in our lives.
Which brings us to a question. This is the infamous question, right? Should you be friends? Should there be a friendship with your children? And people argue that. They always say, "Oh, you should be friends with your children. You should be the parent." Don't blur the lines. Be the parent. Don't be the friends. And we got like 4 minutes and we got to go. But are we friends with our children, or do we believe that type of cohesiveness cannot exist? And maintain the level of respect and boundaries between the parent and the child?
For me, I think as a parent, you can be a parent and I can be a friend to my children.
Parent first, then it has to be boundaries. That's
right.
Yeah.
And that's the key. It's like, I don't want the lines to be blurred where you think that I'm only just your friend. And then, you feel like you can say whatever to me or you can do whatever to me because you think I'm your friend. Yeah. No, I'm your parent first. And then we have maybe friendly moments in that. We have friendly moments in that. But don't get it twisted. You can't come to me and talk to me like I'm your friend out in the street. I'm sorry. You just can't do that. That's me.
So not just verbal discussion. I'm talking about can your child confide in you?
Absolutely.
The same things that they would confide in their friend. Can your child confide in you knowing that you may disagree with them? Do they have the relationship with you to say, hey, I need to talk to them about this? Even though I know they may disagree with my lifestyle or with what I'm going to tell them, do they have that relationship with you that they can confide in you about it? And that's what I mean about friendship.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's based on the relationship that you've developed with your children or your child. Like, I mean, I would hope that our sons know that they can come to us.
Okay.
And sometimes they, they're men, they're young men. Sometimes they don't feel comfortable talking to me about some of the things. But then they will go to Jamel and they'll talk to him about it. So I just think it's just the relationship that you set up where we may not always agree. I may not always like what you have to say or what you're going to do, but I want you to feel comfortable enough that you can come and share it with me if you need to, because I'd rather you come to me and get help than sit on that and don't get help, and then that cause other problems for you down the line because you're holding on to it and you feel like you don't have anybody that you can talk to.
So with the 3 minutes left, here it is. How do we foster that? How do we foster the relationship with our children so that they can confide in us with those things that they know we will disagree with them with? How do we foster that relationship with our children? Because if you look at statistics, if you look at the world that we live in, if you look at the suicide rate among our young people, I'm just so concerned that as parents, we potentially can alienate our children from reaching out to us in their deepest moments of need because they feel as if our parents just won't understand me. So how do we foster the relationship with our children so that they can approach me and talk to me about those things that they really need to discuss with me about?
I mean, I think also it's really based on communication. I think if you start out saying, I may not agree with you, I may not like what you're doing, but I'm here for you. I'm here to listen to you. And at some point,
but that's words. What about our actions?
Well, I mean,
no, I'm just saying, and it's great.
Show it.
So kids,
you show it by just doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Like if I'm telling you I'm here for you, then I'm showing up. I'm present. I'm there even when you get on my nerves. I'm still present.
Yeah.
I think when you show your presence, that reiterates what I'm saying. So I could say it till I'm blue in the face, but my actions is going to show it because I'm going to always be there for you. I mean, our kids, they may have done things down the line that we may not like now. They may have gotten into things that we may not like now, but as long as I've been present, no, I may not agree with what you did is wrong. And I'm going to tell you that, but I'm here. I'm here for you. I'm here if you need me. I'm here to help. And then I think as your kids get older, I mean, you've done what you can for them. You parent them the best way you can. There's no blue book to being a parent. You go by, your experience, and then you take things from that to make it better, from what you may have gone through, so that your kids can have better. That's what we do. We want our kids to do better and to be better. But at some point, you become advisors to your kids. I can't tell Ty what to do. He's a grown man. I can't tell him what to do. I can't tell Cassie what to do. They're grown. They're grown individuals. But what I can do is I can give you advice. I can tell you what I think. I can tell you what we think you should do. But at the end, it's going to be what you decide to do. It's going to be, what you decide. But in the interim, whatever you decide, I'm here to support you in that.
That's good. Yeah. And I think one of the ways we also foster that relationship, it's a word called trust. And trust has to be intentional. Husband and wife, and we're going husband and wife, children and parent, co-worker, employee, employer, pastor, parishioner, caregiver. Oh yeah, we're talking about pastor and the parishioner relationship because we have to do better. Caregiver, elderly. Trust has to be the foundation.
Right.
And I'll say this and we'll go. The only way we can give trust sometimes is being vulnerable. At what level can we be vulnerable with our children? I'll say this. My mom, and she's on now, she was vulnerable with us. And what it did was it allowed me to have a heart of compassion and empathy, so that I knew in moments that I needed help, she can display that same compassion and empathy towards me. Because
good.
She displayed her
good.
vulnerabilities. Here it is with me first.
That's good.
She said it. So now I know that I can go to her and share and expose my vulnerabilities with her and expect that same level of empathy and compassion that she displayed and I displayed towards her. So I think trust has to be the foundation of every relationship. And at some moments we have to be vulnerable. Even it may not be through words, it may be through actions. We have to be vulnerable with our children so that they know, hey, my mom and my dad is exposing me to an element about themselves that they can trust me with.
Right. And
and in turn, when I get older, I can expose to them an element about myself that I can trust them with as well.
I just pray that those that don't have parents, mothers and stuff, fathers, that you find someone
Talk about that.
That that you can trust.
Talk about that.
And that you can go to.
Absolutely.
And that you can confide in and that you can talk to.
Because, you're not alone.
Because life is huge. There's a lot in this life. And we all need someone. So I pray that, whoever doesn't have that mother-father relationship, for whatever reason, your parents are no longer here, you find someone that you can talk to and that you can trust, and just be vulnerable to get out whatever it is that you may need to get the help that you may need, because I think that's key in preventing a lot of the issues and the problems that our young people are having. People are killing themselves, and it's just tragic because they feel like they don't have someone, or they don't feel like someone loves them, or someone doesn't understand what they're going through. So if that's you, just find someone that you feel comfortable with and develop that relationship where that you are not alone. You are not alone.
Yeah.
If you need me, reach out to me.
Yeah. Know that in the chat. I am not alone. I am not alone. And then we'll say, oh yeah, because God is always with you, but God God shows himself through people.
Yes.
And so you are not alone. Family, we got to go again. We apologize for all of the technical glitches and audio
Yes.
issues.
We thank y'all
Yeah,
for
thank y'all
staying
for hanging with us.
staying
Yeah,
with us. So we definitely
yeah.
apologize for that.
yeah,
But we are going to get them back on
Absolutely.
at some point, and we're going to have a conversation with them because what they have to say, we know is going to be impactful. So
Absolutely.
we want everyone to hear what they have to say clearly. So
Absolutely.
we'll make sure we get a new date with them, and we'll come back on with the Butlers
Yeah.
at a later time. But thank you guys for riding and rocking this episode
Thank
out
you.
with us. It was a little rocky, but thank y'all for staying on.
Yeah.
We love y'all so much. So don't forget, Thursday's Thanksgiving, but we will be here for Thursday morning
The
devotion.
Thanksgiving edition.
6 a.m.
Thanksgiving
we
edition.
are going to be here.
Yeah.
Be here or be
Yeah.
square.
Yeah, and for those of you that won't join us on Thanksgiving, and we pray you will, we pray from.
Well, you're not eating at 6 o'clock in the morning. Y'all can join us.
But some people, we pray. We hope that you guys have an incredible Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Share time with family and friends, and just do us just one favor. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, do us one favor. Laugh. That's it. Just laugh.
Yeah, I know we
just
be
laugh.
laughing. We
Yeah.
clowns over here.
On that note, I think we're good.
We love y'all and thank y'all for joining again. Take care. Have a great night. See you Thursday.
Adios, folks.